Right, so welcome guys, I'm Rohit. I'm the brewmaster at the Biere Club. Let me show you around. Look, a beer is difficult to define as being good or bad as long as you don't get any off flavors. If it doesn't smell like cardboard or paper or something, then it's fine because you do get off flavors like that in beers.
Why would it smell like cardboard? People put
If
paper?
you keep it out in the sun for too long, or if your process is not right, it starts smelling a lot like apples, wet cardboard, wet dogs. Those are very common off flavors in beer, like corn, sweet corn, vegetables. Those are proper off flavors. You'll rarely find those off flavors in breweries. It's a lot of subjectivity involved, whether I like the taste of one particular type of beer in one particular ambience better than another. Look, you need four types of raw materials. You need malt, you need hops, you need yeast, and you need water. All of this is sourced from outside of India.
Wait, you said four and you've shown me five.
Now, these are three different types of malt.
Okay.
We've got hops. We can't usually take yeast out in glasses because we use sealed packets. But it's the same texture as baker's yeast. And we have water. Water is treated everywhere we go. We don't have water quality as good as Czechoslovakia or Germany or the US. We can't use it from source.
Oh, so you've got your own water treatment upstairs.
Correct. Every brewery will have a treatment plant, and then we add some salts or stuff like that to make up, not flavor per se, but to imitate water profiles of other countries. There's different types of malt with different colors. Each of them is roasted to a particular degree. So for a beer like wheat beer, I would use just Pilsen and wheat malt.
Okay.
For something like a stout, I would use a Pilsen and a pale ale or a Pilsen malt along with a coloring malt.
Okay. Oh, so the stout is not naturally black? It's
No. It comes from the malt. This is roasted at high temperatures for different time periods.
Okay.
It's a case, now here we stock around 18 different types of malt.
Wow.
So it's a case of mixing and matching and trying to come up with a recipe that's good for that particular style of.
So you do the roasting and everything yourself?
No, we buy it off the shelf. There's international companies that sell roasted malt to Indian distributors.
Oh, so you import it?
Yes, all of it is imported. It's a very gray area. I don't know whether it's illegal or illegal to brew at home.
Oh, wow, okay.
So,
But I mean, if you don't sell it, you just brew it and drink it yourself. Is that illegal?
that is technically not illegal, but I don't know what the status of that is. Yeah. Because internationally, you can brew at home, and you have small markets that sell you small quantities of products.
Right.
But here, it's subject. You can come to a brewery, take some, or buy from a couple of online suppliers that are available.
Right.
So,
Okay.
difficult to say. Look, beer originated as a warm beverage. It was not we didn't have refrigerators back in the day when they started making those ales. They consumed it at room temperature, which at that time was probably 18, 19, 20.
Okay.
Even till date, people in Britain consume beer not more than 14 degrees Celsius. 12 to 14 degrees Celsius is their serving temperature.
Okay. And how much is a normal Indian beer?
Indian beers, if you sell them at beyond 8 degrees Celsius, people start to get a bit jittery saying it's not right. We need super cold, ice cold beer.
Oh, wow. So 8 degrees is the limit of how hot it can be.
Ideally, 4 to 6 degrees is a good serving temperature. But I prefer my beer a little warmer because you get all the flavors out.
Oh, so when you freeze your beer, it puts down the flavor?
Yes, the colder the beverage is, the less sweeter it will taste, the less flavors will come through. Which is why a lot of places across the world, if they've made a beer that is has a bit of off flavors, they'll cool it down to 1 degree, 2 degrees, so that when you drink it, you don't perceive anything.
Oh, wow. So it's a way to get around the bad brewing.
It's not always the case, but it is one of the options. But beers like stout, for instance, there is no point drinking them at 2 degrees or 4 degrees Celsius because this is a complex beverage. You have a lot of roasty flavors. You need to drink it at around 8 to 12 is my preference. Some people prefer to drink it at 6, 4, 2. To beers at warmer temperatures, you are going to perceive a lot of flavors that are not supposed to be there. Because those guys pasteurize, they ship it over long distances, it's difficult to maintain that quality if they don't make it in those conditions. Those beers are meant to be drunk cold, for sure.
So how does that, so let me give you something in between, a Geist or a Biere, who consider themselves craft brewers, but also do mass production.
Right.
How do they balance that out?
Look, the processing has to be right. Geist does only kegging for now. So for them, it's a little easier to maintain conditions at point of delivery service than it is for bottle manufacturers, because those guys ship it over long distances and you're not always guaranteed that the person who's selling your product is storing it in the right country. I've heard of whoever I've spoken to from rural areas or off radar areas, they make a lot of wines, as is the case with a lot of tribes originally in the world. There was no concept of boiling a beverage and then bittering it with heather or hops and then cooling it down and then fermenting and serving it. It was all just take rice and you let it ferment. You take millets, you let it ferment. All of those kind of things. So there's not, it's not a beer technically that I've seen, but there definitely might, yeah. It might be an ancient beer that did originate somewhere in the corner of the country. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So, but why isn't there a beer tradition now? I mean, we're still, you go to any bar in Bangalore, any craft brewery bar, Bangalore, Pune, wherever, India, you see the Belgian ales, you see the stouts, which are, Irish in reputation. You don't see an Indian ale, apart from the Indian pale ales, which are actually American.
Yes, that's an interesting point, because all of these beers are from antiquity. Some guy in Germany, probably found a yeast that gave him banana and clove flavors and then continuously made that. And then it became a Hefeweizen, became a German style of wheat beer. Same thing with a Belgian wheat. Or a Pilsner, for instance, originated in Pilsen in Czechoslovakia because they have really soft water. A porter, English porter, or a Burton bitter originated in England because of the hard water. Now, we don't have that kind of profile over here. Maybe up north, where you have proper spring water, you can make beer with Indian raw materials, with an Indian grown yeast, hops, but all of that is not, the pieces are not there yet. Correct. Now what we are doing with our ragi beers, we are sourcing ragi malt from Karnataka and using 70% of it in the beer.
Okay.
So that's as close to an Indian beer as we can get.
But do you promote it like that, saying this is our Indian
Yeah,
beer?
yeah. It has to, because a lot of people are looking for locally sourced products. And we have been thankful that the person who's working with us, the ragi maltster, he's doing a very good job in selling us that product. He's basically roasting it to this kind of level and selling it to us. And it's all local,
Right.
with some jaggery that's organically grown as well. So, look, it's very simple to explain. Now, if you have an Irish dry stouts are always invariably compared to Guinness. Okay. You can't do that because their process is completely different. But if you take craft breweries, the essential flavors will be the same. You will get some roasted notes, some coffee notes, some dark chocolate notes. All of those things are standard. But it all boils down to the rounded nature of the beer. It's the same with any, Indian curries. Rasam, for instance. You can like a rasam in one place, not in some other place. Ingredients are the same, but how the brewer uses those ingredients, uses the process, that will change a bit. Not in Bangalore, no, but outside the state, yes. We have had people who have left the company under the old brewer's guidance, and they tend to use the same recipes. So you can find a very distinct similarity.
Wow, so you can actually walk in and say, this is my beer.
Yeah. Because you don't forget this taste. You've been tasting this for so long. Yeah. When you taste it anywhere else, you'll know that it's the same recipe. Other breweries, definitely the brewer's perspective will be completely different. So you can find out the difference like that. Quality right now is not at par with what we would have envisioned when all of us started back in 2011. There is still a long way to go. The industry is growing, no doubt, everywhere across the country. Bangalore has 38, another 10 in the pipeline. Yeah. So it's anyone's guess till when it will go.
So do you think, I mean, at least in the cities in Bangalore, India, Pune, Mumbai, whatever, do you think we're ever going to have an English kind of culture where every pub's got their own different beer?
It's difficult to say, because India, by data, is consumer of hard liquor. Yeah. It is very difficult to push beer as a beverage because of the heat, number one. If you have a bottled beverage that's really light, then people go for it. But invariably, hard liquor is most consumed. I doubt that it will reach anywhere near UK standards, forget the US standards. Maybe in another 10, 15 years, but definitely not in the immediate future.